So this video we're going to do a really quick demo on rigging a bouncing ball with a tail. So with that said, this is still for the introductory course, but this part is not required. It's just really the animating, but I'm going to show you how to create it. So I'm going to go to create Polygon Primitives, and I have interactive creation on, so I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to go to cube here, move this up, and watch the video on the others if you are interested in rigging. Watch the ones that come before this, and it'll give you a better idea of sort of how I'm doing this. So here is a sphere for the, it's going to be the head of our bouncing ball. I'm going to shift right click, I'm going to smooth this out, and I'm going to smooth it out again. And I go into detail, like I said in the previous video, on how I really create this. I'm going to hit spacebar, or actually hold spacebar down, right click on the word my, and go to my front view. Just pull this down here. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to clean this out, so I'm going to go to edit, delete all by type, history, and then modify freeze transformation. And I'm going to make this one a little bit, because I'm going a bit quicker, I'm going to make a different type of much simpler joint system. Actually, let me straighten these out. You really want to get nice straightened edges, smooth edges when you're rigging. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete history. I've got these hot buttons set up. The way you do that is, so for example, say I want to add a hot button that creates joints. I can go to skeleton and hold Control and Shift and click on create joints, and you can see it added it here. So now when I click on that, I have my joint tool selected. I'm going to click on the base here, and then I'm going to hold Shift and create another one. What the holding Shift does is it lines up your joints for you. I'm going to hit enter here. Now I'm going to hold spacebar, right click on the word my, and go up to perspective. And you can see now, and again, I'm paying attention that this is going to be my front view, that the joint is in the center of my model. So if I go to my front view, I can see it's centered. I can go to my right view. It is also centered. All right, so let's go ahead and select our bottom part here, and let's name this root. And I'm going to select this top part. I'm going to name this top. And with selecting my root, I'm going to hold shift and select the top part there, then hold shift and click the sphere. So notice I selected three things here. And then I'm going to go to skin, and I'm going to go to bind skin. And now what you'll notice is as I move this down, it's not nicely smooth like the other one, or nicely skinned like the other one. So we're going to have to fix that. For now, I want to go ahead and really quickly complete the rig altogether. So I'm going to hold spacebar, right click again, go to create NURBS curve, and then go to circle. And I'm just going to hit R here, bring that in. Let's turn off our polygon so you guys can see this. So with this NURB curve selected, I'm going to hit Control D and then hold V as in Victor down and snap it up here. Now what I want to do is clean out the history on both of these. You guys see that? So I'm going to select both and then select Freeze Transform. I'll go up to Modify, Freeze Transformations, and that cleared that out. Alright, so just like in the past video, I'm going to hold Shift, select that bottom joint, go to Constraint, and make sure Point has Maintain Offset turned on, hit Apply. And then let's do the same up here, Apply. So now what happens is when I move this, just the circle, it moves this around. All right, let's do, we want to do the same thing for rotation. So constrain, orient, I'm going to turn on maintain offset. And then let's do the same here, apply. And again, what orient does, if you've seen the last one, is it does rotation. The last step is I want the top to follow my bottom circle here. So I'm going to select the top NURB circle, hold shift, select the bottom, and hit P to parent it. And so now it follows it. All right, so let's turn this on. And what I'm going to do is hide my joints and just move these NURB circles to test my rig. So I'm going to go to show and then joints. Ooh, excuse me, brain freeze there. Hold spacebar, go to front view. Now, remember, these are all zeroed out. So if I move it down here and I want to see what it looks like, I can just hit a 0 in here and it'll go back to its original size. And that's the power behind the NURB curves, because you can't freeze transform on joints. So I'm just going to move it down to about here. This is where I know my sphere will be fully squashed. So let's select this. I'm going to right click, go to vertex mode. and then do Window, General Editor, and then turn on Component Editor. And then I'm going to select all of these verts, and you can see I have smooth skins here. So I want them to be 50%. So let's maximize this. Right now, can't really zoom out, but if I left click in the top view and I just scroll down, I'm holding the mouse button here, the left mouse down, and I type in 0.5, notice it makes them both 50-50. And so what that means is all of these verts are weighted perfectly between both of these circles, and that's not what I want. I want these bottom ones to be stuck on the root, and I want, as I go up taller, I want it to sort of give more control to that top joint so that when I pull this down, it squashes and stretches. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to select this bottom grouping of verts here. And you can see I have a root, they're both 50% in both areas. Okay, so let's go back, push this down a little bit to about there. Right click, go back to vertex mode. Let's select this bottom chunk of verts. And notice when I do that, it also selects the ones behind it. So I'm making sure to get both. So if I hit 4, you can see that. Now, the trick behind this is I want to, and really you could select either of them and then just kind of play with the slider, but I want the root to have more control. So I'm going to shift this more to the right actually, because I'm going up higher value for that area. And what I want is when I'm low, is I really want this to be to stay onto the bottom. Okay, see that? So I'm almost giving it 100%. I'm going to give it a little bit less because I do like a little bit of give. So I'm going to shift this up a little bit just so I can see that. And I'm going to go to edge mode, double click this edge, and what that does is it selects the edge all the way around, so you can see that. And then the trick to selecting all those vertices is I hold the shift key down and I right click and I go, or I'm sorry, the control key down, and I hold the right mouse button down, I don't release, and I go 2 vertices, 2 vertex. And I'm going to do the same thing, select root, and just sort of slide to the right a little bit. Select this top part, push it down. Right click, go to vertex mode. It should still remember the other ones. And just kind of push. I'm sort of playing with those values. So let's kind of push this up a little bit. So now you can see it's starting to adapt. But this edge here needs to be weighted a little bit better. So I'm going to kind of give it, sorry, I should have held control, right click, 2 vertices, 2 vertex. Just going to push that up a little bit. So I'm just playing with those squash values. And these might have, you know, if I select these groupings here on the side, they're kind of staying pretty strong because they're weighted pretty hard. Here, let's see. Let's kind of go to the front view. Maybe that's a little better. I want to select these vertices going at an angle. And I'm going to play with those values too because I kind of want them to sag down just a little bit as it squashes. Like that. So let's play with this a little bit here. So I'm pushing this down. It squashes. Let's move this down as well. 2 vertices. Same thing with this. Select these middle ones up here. All right, so as we play with this, you can go in and really sort of play with these values to give yourself a nice squash and stretch. This dark shadow here is a little bit of a problem, so I'm going to probably play with the weighting on this just a little bit more. And the same thing with these guys. And what I'm really looking for is, as I'm animating this, I just can get a nice easy squash and stretch from that. Because really it's not going to squash more than that before it springs up. All right, so that's pretty good. Let's save that off into our folder, and then what we'll do in the next video is go ahead and create the tail.